permanently remove charge-offs that are unpaid but without paying them. And the first thing that we need to talk about is the fact that you are not going to remove it by telling them that you don't owe it. Now, before you smash the unlike or whatever, or, try to leave a bad comment on one of my other videos, one thing that you want to understand is there is a balance because it is unpaid, okay? I know that may sound kind of like, well, duh, Kristen, what are you talking about? But the fact is, if there were some way for them to, I'm just trying to figure out like the easiest way to put this. So many people come to me and they're like, okay, I've tried to remove this charge off. I cannot remove it. And the way that I've tried to remove it is by telling them that it's a charge off and I don't have to pay it. But if it were like that, it wouldn't go on your credit report, or it wouldn't go on your credit report with a balance, right? Right. Okay. So for you to simply write a dispute letter saying, oh, I don't owe this, oh, you need to remove it very simply because it's a charge-off and doesn't, it's not required to have a balance, then, just use common sense here. Like, hello, it's not going to work, okay? There's a balance because it is unpaid. And yes, I am going to tell you how to remove it. And it looks like there's a little bit of a lag in my stream, so I apologize. But here's the deal. There's a balance because it is unpaid. It is reporting with a balance because it is unpaid. Okay, so for you to dispute it as, oh, remove it very simply because there's a balance because it's a charge, you're not going to remove it. Okay, so in your dispute, the only way that you are legally and permanently going to remove it without paying it is to, and this is just the way that I do it, okay, but is to factually dispute it. You hear me tell you this all the time. I have 1,200 videos breaking down this entire process going back 9 years. I even have a full and complete course. It is the step-by-step do-it-yourself credit sweep course. It is an ultimate toolkit. The link is down in the description. It's in the description of all of my recent videos, but this is simple. This is really, 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 really simple, okay? Charge-off is a write-off, and a write-off is an accounting term, okay? An accounting term that says that you had some sort of service or credit or, money with them, whatever, you borrowed from them something, you didn't pay it, and now this debt is no longer an asset to them. And so they are writing it off so that they do not have to pay taxes on an income they did not earn. Right? Just the same as, I'll send someone to collections when I do my taxes. I have to, report that, yeah, this was income, but it really wasn't income. And so I don't have to pay my sales tax on it, or any tax on it for that matter, because it's not actual income. Okay. It did not go into my bank. It didn't go into my pocket. It didn't go anywhere. Okay. So this is the same exact thing, except for they do it just a little bit differently. All it is an accounting term. So we're not going to remove these things from your credit report by fighting accounting terms, okay? What you can do is point out that there's 3 different dates last paid. There's a violation for failure to report the notice of dispute within the required 30-day time period pursuant to section 623 that you disputed with them, and they didn't change the date last reported, but they stated that it was verified. And if they had, they would have changed that date last reported. So therefore, it means that they didn't do any sort of investigation. You can then look at the date last active. You can also look at the first date of delinquency. You can look at the payment history, where it says like on time, charge, all that stuff. And you can go after that first day of delinquency or the, different late payments and use them against each other and go way back and start disputing those late payments, but not for updating, but for removing. That is how you are going to remove a charge off permanently. It's going to come off and it's not going to come back when you do it the right way, okay? This is the way that I've removed over 50,000 negative items from my client credit reports, okay? It is not by trying to fight the credit bureaus and tell them that there shouldn't be a balance on it, because it just wouldn't report with a balance if it were like that, okay? We're not fighting accounting terms. We are fighting violations and inaccuracies, all right? The only thing that is going to remove something factually from a credit report is when you fight the facts. They are inarguably, irrefutably evidence, they are proof, right? It's the same as an attorney going to court and they have their evidence, and it doesn't matter if their client is innocent or they are guilty. They are going to take that evidence and they're going to spin it into some sort of story that's going to prove that their client is innocent. Okay, that is exactly what I do. That is exactly what you should be doing, and that's exactly what is going to get your negative items removed from the credit report. Okay, so all I'm saying is sometimes you just need to kind of park yourself and really think about things logically. And no, I'm not telling you that you're stupid, that you're doing things wrong. I'm not telling you that you need to, change up everything that you're doing. But sometimes when you hear these people kind of in your ear telling you all these stupid little things, that it sounds great, it's going to remove it in 30 days, it's going to get it removed just instantly in 5 minutes, in 14 days, in 30 days, just overnight. Stop. Just stop for a second and say, wait a second. If it were like that, if it were truly and completely and totally irrefutably like that, then why? Why does it go on the credit report? Why hasn't this been mastered and remastered to, be at dealerships and, with the loan officers and mortgage places and all that kind of stuff? And it's very simply because it's too inconsistent, right? You can have a husband and wife with the same exact accounts because they're joint owners on these accounts, right? And the husband will be done almost instantly, but the wife won't have any movement whatsoever for like 8 months. How does that happen? Is it because that her disputes went on a Wednesday and his went on a Thursday? Or is it because a computer did his and a human did hers? Why is it with same exact accounts? And we're talking about a husband and wife. We're not even talking about two totally different people that don't even know each other, okay? So it's too inconsistent. The results are all over the place. There's no way to guarantee anything to anybody other than, hey, I'm more than likely going to improve your credit, because I can't force the bureaus or the creditors or the collectors to do anything. But based on my 25 years experience, my 12 years experience, my 13 minutes reading this stupid book, I am fairly certain that I can do XYZ for you. That's basically what it boils down to. So you need to be careful when you are watching these videos or taking these courses or listening to these people who are spilling these things into your ears and just feeding you a bunch of lies about these, pots of gold at the end of the rainbow that don't exist. These unicorns and rainbows. I'm telling you, man, I'm telling you, because all it's going to do is make you send out disputes that do not get results. And the longer you dispute, the harder it is to remove these things from your credit report. And we are looking for permanent results. We're not looking to throw a band-aid over something that requires surgery. No, you need to go in and do surgery, and you need to do it the right way, because you're just going to keep on going back and going back and going back and going back and going back. And eventually, the credit bureaus are going to tell you, my friend, we are just not going to deal with you anymore. I think you should just, I don't know, maybe just wait 7 years or so, you know what I mean? And yes, they can ban you from disputing when you're disputing the wrong way. So it is my recommendation right now that today is the day that you say enough is enough. I'm not going to listen or believe in these sales tactics and these sales gimmicks, and I am going to do this the right way. And the right way is finding the actual factual reason that the account needs to be removed, okay? I'm not yelling at you. I am being emphatic. I am being adamant, because men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. I prove it all the time that what I do works, okay? I'm not talking about anybody else's process. I'm talking about what I do for my clients, what I show you in my videos. Going back 9 years, there's over 1,200 of them, okay? If it didn't work, I wouldn't spend all this time trying to give you the answer and give you the sauce, give you the ingredients, and give you the recipe, okay? So otherwise, it would just be a waste of my time, right? If you go back last week, you're going to see a video where for one couple in 60 days, I removed 700 accounts between the two of them. So does this work? Yes. People can say whatever they want about me, right? You either love me or you hate me, but you got to respect me, because I prove that what I do works. All right. I'm just not for everybody, just the same as you're not for everybody, right? Otherwise you would be dating or married to everybody, and we're not. There's just a handful of people for us, you know what I mean, in our entire lifetime. That's a different conversation for a different day. But my entire point here is very simply that you need to find the one way All right. And we're not talking about religion. We're not talking about politics. We're talking about your credit. The one thing that determines where you live, where you work, how much money you make, whether you live in mom and dad's basement, whether you're driving a hoopty, whether you actually have to stick your foot through the floorboard like a Flintstone mobile and slow down your car, whether you're driving down the hill and you have to downshift because you can't afford to get new brakes and you almost hit somebody. That actually happened to me. I got I had gotten I had got my grandmother co-signed for me on a, not a new car, but it was new at the time for me. And about 2 weeks in, my brakes blew, and it was a standard. I love driving standard, all right? So that's a different conversation as well. But here's the point. I couldn't afford the brakes, right? So I'm dangerously driving this car that should otherwise just be in my uncle's shop. But obviously my uncle's not going to give me a break because who the hell am I, right? And unfortunately, I also owed him money at the time because he had put new tires on my car a couple of months prior to that. So he's not going to fix my brake, but I got to get to work, my brakes, but I got to get to work. So I'm driving down a hill and I'm downshifting. I was doing about 40 miles an hour. So that's about, fourth gear. I go into third gear. I go into second gear, and what's left? First gear, right? Well, unfortunately, the light turns red and people start walking across the crosswalk and there's nowhere for me to go, right? And my car is not slowing down. I'm in first gear, the brakes don't work, and I'm trying to pull the e-brake, but considering that there's no brakes, the car's not going anywhere. It's just, it literally is going somewhere, but in the wrong direction. So that's the entire point. Why, if it were as simple as removing negative items from your credit report, then, why wouldn't I have just done that and gone and got a credit card or some sort of loan or something and just gone and fixed my brakes on my kind of new car that was at like 26% interest at that time? It's because it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And if it did, I wouldn't have gone through the things that I went through to actually bring me here to you in this video so many years later. You know what I mean? Wouldn't have had to claim bankruptcy. Wouldn't have had to choose, turning my lights on over putting food in the refrigerator and a bunch of other stuff. So all I'm saying is that this is not a simple process. It is very, very difficult. And if you believe the people that are chirping in your ear about a bunch of stuff that doesn't exist, the only person who's going to either benefit or, be hurt by this is you. And I don't want that to happen to you. Okay. So, what are your choices? You either do nothing and nothing happens. But eventually it will, 7 years. I know a lot of people who waited 7 years to actually fix the credit, right? And they did remove their charge-offs. They removed tons of charge-offs that were unpaid, but they had to wait 7 years. I don't want to wait 7 years. I don't know about you. I don't want to wait 7 years for anything. I don't want to wait 7 minutes. We live in a microwave society where we want everything like yesterday, right? But that's choice number one, do nothing. Choice number two is do it the wrong way. And that's the same as doing nothing, right? You could go with a company. I'm not going to name any names, but you can go with a company, a big company, right? Where they only dispute a couple negative items per month. They only dispute one bureau at a time. They do batch disputing. They send out templates, the same letters for you that they send out for everyone, that the credit bureaus get 1.5 million times per month per bureau, which also means that they also send you back their own template that says, verified, no investigation, but it's verified. Or you can check out my 1,200 free videos right now, going back 9 years, that break down this entire process. Or you can check out my hundreds of free resources that break down this entire process and help you to implement, this whole thing, the credit sweep, with my free videos. Or you can schedule a call with me at my740.com to see if I can personally do the credit sweep for you. Or you can check out my brand new Ultimate Toolkit, which literally gives you the know-how, the letters, the apps to actually process the disputes and track them, and a bunch of bonuses and all that kind of stuff. Or you can just give me a thumbs down and go to someone else's video. Those are your choices. But the worst thing that you could do is do nothing. And even worse than that, actually, is doing the same thing that you're currently doing that's not getting you results, right? So can you legally and permanently remove negative items from your credit report? Yes, you can. Can you legally and permanently remove an unpaid charge-off? Yes, I remove them all the time. The most expensive, the highest balance I've ever removed was $550,000 from someone's credit report. Yes, $550,000 on one account. Everything else was less than about $400,000 or so, except for mortgages. Okay. I mean, a mortgage is always going to be pretty high. So I don't really count those. So this was a loan that I removed, $550,000. That was back in 2018. After that, it was 500,000, and then before that would be 450,000, and then they go lower from there. So an account does not have to be paid to be removed. It does not have to be anything to be removed. It just needs to have at least one late payment on it to be disputed. I don't dispute accounts that are, that you just want off just because you don't like them on there, like student loans per se, okay? So, but I think that's it. I think that's it for today. So, yes, unpaid charge-offs can be permanently removed. They can be totally and completely removed and not come back on, but it all has to do with the method, okay? Everything with a credit sweep has to do with the method, the how you are disputing. Are you, disputing online? Are you sending out templates? Are you, just basically saying this is not mine? Are you doing the illegal identity theft method? That is what I am referring to when I say method. What method are you currently using to dispute? If you are using one of the things that I just mentioned, then you are not doing it the right way. And unfortunately, whatever it is that you're disputing is probably not going to come off. But the number one thing that you do not want to say is you need to remove this because it's a charge off and it has a balance. I mean, it has a balance because you didn't pay it. Let's just call it what it is, okay? So, I mean, if you did pay it, then it wouldn't have a balance. And, I mean, if it's not supposed to have a balance because you paid it, then that's something totally different, right? That's an inaccuracy that you can use to remove it. But to say that something should not have a balance just because it's a charge-off is completely and totally incorrect. And all you're going to be doing is wasting a dispute that you could have otherwise used a violation on, or some sort of inaccuracy that's at the top of the pyramid that could have removed that account. All right. So that is it, I guess. Hope you have a wonderful day. And I guess you and I will see each other later. I don't know, maybe. If you have questions about the course, you can head over to the sales page and ask me questions about it, I guess. But I guess that's it. I will see you later, and have a great day.